Hey everybody, it's a beautiful Sunday morning, 7/21/2013, and I've been mulling this idea over for quite a few months, if not many years, and I think I'm finally ready to make a video about it. It's about freedom, and the question is, what is freedom? And it's a big issue because you bring up stuff like this and people get really heated. They want their freedoms and they want them now. And I'm one of them. I want my freedoms too. So my question first off is, what is freedom to you? And it's up to you, but I would advise to turn off this video, pause it for a minute, and really think of a definition, a one-line definition of what freedom is to you. And then come back and see if we agree on this subject. The video I made the other day about dualism and evil, I get a lot of feedback, a lot of flack from people about my non-belief in evil. But while at one time I may have believed in evil, I came to the realization that, well, I never really believed or disbelieved. And I just want to say that I don't disbelieve in evil, I just don't believe in evil. It's just like I don't believe or disbelieve in a god or the gods. It's just, it is what it is. I go by experience. So when we talk about freedom, we're not talking about anything ethereal as far as we know. Nothing spiritual as much as physical right here. When we talk about freedom, when you say I want my freedom, I don't know if most people associate that with the country or with the world, or with economics and politics, the way I do, or have in the past. You say, we want freedom, it usually means we want liberation from something that's holding us back from being who we truly are, okay? So, my definition of freedom will come later, but first I wanted to say, freedom is not the right to do whatever we want, and it is not the right to do what we please, and that's what freedom is not. And that seems to be a major misconception. Among materialists, freedom is the right to do whatever I damn well please, and that's how it is. Kind of the dog-eat-dog, get some while you can attitude. And freedom is not the right to do what we please. Freedom is the right to think what we please. And thus, so far, no one has forced us to think anything. We've made our own decisions. We may have been fooled in the past, but we're able to draw our own conclusions now. And since no one's ever agreed on anything 100%, there's never going to be a be-all, end-all for freedom for everyone. So if something imposes upon the rights of another in any way, shape, or form, then it's not a right, it's not a freedom. That's the way I see it. If your freedom affects the population as a whole, or even a majority of the population, then it's really a touchy subject. Freedom of speech is a perfect example, because I'd love to use that one to start. Freedom of speech is considered the be-all, end-all of freedoms. We have the right to say whatever we want. But is this true? And not in a legal sense. See, I want to take freedoms and put it into a context that means universal freedoms, freedoms of people. So if you have a freedom of speech, and your speeches that you're going around saying are offending and hurting the feelings of a lot of people, is that a freedom? And people would say yes, no matter what. People have the right to say what they want, and if you don't like it, then you shouldn't listen, or you shouldn't be offended, because maybe you should consider what you're thinking, or maybe the person's right. I don't really have an opinion on this subject. I don't have the opinion on free speech, because I see that freedom in our legal system should be the right to say whatever you want, but freedom in the universal system says that perhaps a person should not say certain things if they offend others, and especially if the person's doing it just to offend others. And that's something I'll have to come back to in a later time, because I'm still working on that in my own head. But nobody can take our thoughts away from us. And they can only serve to try to alter the way we think, which is what government companies, corporations, politicians have been trying to do for decades, well, thousands of years. I mean, this has gone on since the beginning of civilization. I mean, this is nothing that's new to, say, the Obama administration. You know, it seems to be, everybody jumps on this bandwagon of, you know, that politicians are bad now and that they're taking away our freedoms. This has been going on since the beginning of culture. So what our politicians try to do, often, I'm just saying the ones that have good intentions, which they are out there, they pass laws that people want passed. And it's not always in the best interest of everyone. So someone's always going to get mad. And I've looked at all these different laws and I've said, who's offended by this and who does this help? And a lot of them are just garbage. But I try to take certain examples, like people want freedom of media. They want to be able to record what they want, and they get angry at the record companies for imposing on their freedom to listen to what they want. However, people use their energy and efforts to create the music. So there's kind of a rift there between how much freedom should we have to listen to what we want without paying for it. I mean, these are just menial issues, but they're the big issues that we consider freedoms. And I guess I have to revert back to the original, that freedom is not the right to do what we please, it's the right to do what's the best for the community as a whole. And I guess there's kind of a division there among, you know, what it really means to be free. And I feel free. See, that's the thing, is in my heart I feel free. And I know there are people out there who feel imprisoned within the system. And when you let that veil fall away, you realize that there are parts of the system that may make you feel imprisoned, but they're only there because society's created them. It's kind of like the things that are advertised or promoted to us as people. They're not done to fool us, they're done because we're fools. And because we listen. And all of us are equal part in it. Some more than others, but here's my definition of freedom. I wrote it down here. Freedom, the ability to form one's own thoughts and opinions and act in any way that betters mankind without opposing on others' rights. And that's it. As long as you're not imposing on others, your freedoms are great. So I just wanted to kind of get that out there and say that freedom is not all... It seems to be a word that's used to describe, you know, we want freedom now, we want liberation, but I'd revert back to my previous videos about ethics and dualism, about how we view the world and how we view what's ethical. And what we consider a freedom in this country may not be a freedom in another country, so we become nationalists to defend our points of view. And I'm trying really hard not to defend any points of view these days. I could or couldn't be wrong about a lot of things. I'm probably wrong about a ton of things. In fact, I don't know anybody who's ever been right about these things. Well, the issue comes down to how much you're willing to think it through, and whether you're willing to settle on someone else's belief system or something that you heard from someone. You know, you'll see a lot of people who will say, I can't believe I'm watching this video, why don't people listen to this guy? And they'll give you a video link and you're thinking, okay, so you're just believing a different person. And I don't want anybody to believe me. That's what I'm saying. I'm not here to try to impose my thoughts on others. I'm only here to provide a viewpoint, one viewpoint among 7 billion viewpoints. And I've come to this point in my life where I don't dismiss anyone's viewpoint as valid. For example, this, you know, a large portion of civilized, quote, civilized society may say that other countries, they just want these certain freedoms because they're ignorant or because they're unaware. Oh, look, they don't have the material goods. They don't understand what the world's really about. But those are a majority of the people in the world. That's what I'm saying. These people may have a hell of a lot more say in the way the world works than any of us do in Western society, and I'm sure they do. They're living with the land, a lot of them are living in nature, living the way that we know we should in the Western society. But there's a majority of people that are like that, just like there's a majority of people who are poor or live menially. And I just wanted to say that often the religious will use that to say, hey, look, a majority of people are religious. So I have to take that into account too. I can't say that I'm right by not believing in evil, because a majority of people do. So I use that same scenario with my freedoms, where if I feel like I should be free to do what I want, I have to ask myself, does it offend anyone in any way? Does it harm anyone in any way? And then it gets into ethics, where you think, okay, if it harms a person, is it doing better for more people than it's harming? And that's where it goes deeper and deeper. But define your own freedom. Define your own, what it means to be free, because each one of us is ultimately free right here in our hearts. And we just have to let go of some of the things that we're trying to hold on to, the things that we want to change in the world. Don't stop changing things. Don't stop making effort, because without people who are active, things never get done. But don't let the anger cloud your judgment, and try to take freedoms that are for the better of mankind. So, some thoughts from my one view on the many facets.